A few years back, me and three of my best friends, Chris, Danny, and Mike, went on a camping trip up in the mountains. Just a weekend getaway, you know? Get away from work, drink a little too much, tell dumb stories by the fire. Normal stuff. We found this spot off a dirt road, pretty deep in the woods, with nobody around for miles. Perfect, right? We set up our tents, got a fire going, and cracked open some beers. The sun dipped behind the trees, and we just sat there, shooting the shit, letting the woods wrap around us. Then, sometime after midnight, we heard it. A voice, just beyond the tree line. It was distant. Chris, being the idiot that he is, called back, "Hello." Silence. Just the crackling fire and the wind rustling through the trees. Then, "Help me." I don't know what it was about that voice, but my stomach dropped. It was off. Like someone was trying to sound human, but didn't quite know how. Mike muttered, "That ain't right." Danny, the most level-headed of us, grabbed a flashlight and stood up. "Could be someone lost out here," he said, scanning the trees. "Might need help." Chris and Danny started walking toward the sound. I stayed put. Something deep in my gut screamed at me to not go into those trees. Mike must have felt the same, because he didn't move either. Then we heard Chris say, "What the hell?" Danny's flashlight beam was shaking. "Who's out there?" he called. Silence. Then, "Danny." It was the same voice, but now it was saying his name. Perfectly, like it had learned it. Chris bolted back to the fire, face pale as hell. "Dude, we gotta go." Danny followed, whispering, "There's someone out there." I grabbed my bag. "No shit. Let's pack up and..." Then we heard it again, this time closer. "Danny, help me." Mike pulled out his knife. "Screw this." The thing stepped into the firelight. At first, I thought it was a deer. A big one. But as my eyes adjusted, I realized it was standing. Wrong. Its legs bent at weird angles, too long, too thin. The skin looked stretched, pulled tight over bones that didn't seem human. And the face, oh God, the face. It had Danny's eyes. His nose. But it wasn't Danny. It was like something was wearing him, but it didn't fit right. And it was smiling. Chris screamed. Mike grabbed a burning log from the fire and threw it. The thing barely flinched, but the moment the fire touched it, it let out this awful, ear-piercing screech and bolted back into the trees. We didn't wait. We grabbed our shit, threw it in the truck, and tore out of there. None of us talked on the ride back. What was there to say? "Hey, did you see the thing that tried to be Danny?" Weeks passed before we even mentioned it to each other again. Chris refused to talk about it. Danny tried to rationalize it's some kind of weird forest animal, maybe? But Mike and I knew better. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear it in my head. "Danny, help me."